Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Stage. In this today's tutorial, I'll be teaching you how to cut a bubu gown using a Mikado material, then a sequence at the placement. If you want to know how to cut and sew this video, stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe. So this is the material I'm going to be using for this tutorial. You need a sequence of half yard to make this tutorial. Then for your Mikado, you need a Mikado material of 3 yards, 2.5 yards, depending on your body size. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to fold this material into two, then I'll fold it into two again. So after folding it into two, this is what I have. Then first step is to divide your shoulder by two and mark it. So I'm going to be dividing my shoulder by two, then I will mark it. Then after dividing my shoulder by two, I'm going to mark my sleeve measurement. So how I used to mark my sleeve measurements, after marking my shoulder measurement, I'll place my tape at where my shoulder measurements end. Then I'll mark my sleeve measurement. Sorry that it was not showing here, but my sleeve length was 15. That's what I marked there. So after marking it, the next step is to mark out your neck line. After marking your sleeve length, this is when I was marking the sleeve length, I mark 16, sorry, not 15, I mark 16. So after marking it, the next step is to draft out your neck width and your neck length. So what I'm going to be using as my neck width is 3 inches. Yes, I'm going to be using 3 inches because the neck is not that wide. So for the length, I'm going to be using 1.5. So this neck measurement is for the back bubu dress. This is for the back measurement. So after marking our neck length and depth, so the next step is to mark out the length of our gown. Sorry, you'll not be needing a shoulder slope here. You'll not be needing a shoulder slope here. The next step is to mark out your length of your gown, where you want the gown to stop. Is to mark out the length of your gown, where you want your gown to stop. So the length of my gown, I'm going to be using 57 inches for my length. So that's what I'm going to mark. Sorry, you cannot see it in this my video, but I'm going to be marking 57 for my length. If you are tall, you can use 60 depending on who you are making the dress for. If it's a ready to wear dress for a lady, you can be using 57, 58, because you don't know the height of the client. It's better when the client comes, you really want to cut it off. So after marking the length, I'm just going to pin my dress and arrange it very well. I'm going to marking the wideness of my bubu dress, like how I want it to be. So before I mark that, I'm going to be sorry, the camera is not showing where I was marking the length, like the opening where my hand will come out from. So what I did there, I mark out from my shoulder, I mark out from where my sleeve stop, I mark out 12 inches. That's where my hand will come out from. So that's what I did there. So the next step here, I'm trying to mark out the wideness, how free I want my gown to be. If the person is not that slim, I prefer you should just use 13. When you fold it, you just use 13. But if the person hip is from 39, you can be using 50 for a bubu dress like this. Yes, that's how to mark it in case you want to do ready to wear. So I'm going to mark this 13 inches downward, but the best way to calculate this thing is when your hip is like 40, you mark 40 plus 5 inches or 7 inches. If you think the wideness is not giving that freeness what you want, you can mark, add more inches to it. But that's the way to get a perfect bubu free gown. Your hip measurement plus 5 or 7 inches, it will give you a perfect size of bubu gown. It's not be that free, it's not look that big, it will not look that small. That's how to get a perfect size of your bubu gown. So what I'm just trying to do here, I'm just trying to mark it downward. After marking the wideness of my bubu gown, the next step is to just draw out the line where my hand will come out from. I told you earlier that I mark from my shoulder to where my hand will come out from 12 inches. So it's giving a four corner shape now. But your hand, your body curve is not four corner. So you're just going to make a curve at that armhole side. So this is how I curve it. So this is why I used to curve out my armhole. Your hand is not four corners, so it's not going to be fine. If you leave it like that, it's going to be giving a folding at the armpit side. So after doing it, the next step is just cut it out. So after cutting it out, the next step is to just take out your pin. Then you take off one fabric out. You take up one piece. You're going to take the back part away and just leave the front part. Then you arrange it where for you to cut out your front neckline. That's the V shape at the front. So after taking one piece out, I already have the front. I decided to use the first part where my choke is. So the next step is just to place my tape at the shoulder. I'm just trying to arrange it where. So the next step is just to place my tape at the shoulder. Then I'll mark 8 inches. Sorry, it's not 7 inches. I'm going to mark 8 inches for the length of my front neck. So after marking it, I'll just connect and make a slight V. The V at the front is not going to be too open. Just watch the way I'll mark it. It's not going to be very open. You just make a very sharp V. You make sure your V is very sharp, not open, not the open V. Then after making it, you cut out. So after cutting it out, the next step is just to open it up. Then after opening it, you mark where you want your sequence to stop. So I'm just going to open it flat and mark where I want my sequence, that's the front design, to stop. So I'm just going to measure from my shoulder to where I want the sequence to stop. Where I want the design to stop is about 19 inches. You can mark 21 inches if you want. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to check the sequence too. I'm going to mark 19 inches. That's for the length. For the wideness, I'm going to use the whole half inch for the wideness. So for the wideness, I'm just going to use like about 16 or so. So I'll just cut out the length I want from the sequence design. So I'm just going to mark out the same 19 inches as my sequence fabric. Then I'll cut it out too. So after cutting it out, the next step is to use your interfacing to make it strong. When you cut your sequence, when you use it like this for design, it's not going to work. So I'm going to use my interfacing on it and I'll show you what it looks like. So after putting my paper gum interfacing on it, this is what it looks like. I'm just cross-checking if the length is okay for me. So the next step is to fold this sequence into two. You're just going to arrange it where and fold it into two using the length, not the width. You're going to use the length, you fold it into two. So after folding it into two, you just place your main fabric on it, that's the mikado material. You are going to place it on it. This is me trying to just arrange it. Then after doing it, you place your main fabric on it to cut out the exactly neck measurements. So I've already placed it on top. I'm still trying to arrange it very well to cut out the exactly neck that I cut out at the front design. That's the main fabric. So I'm going to place it where then I'll cut it off. So after cutting it off, what I'm going to do next, I'm just going to open my fabric wide open. So the next step is to use my sequence and place it on the back part of my mikado. I'm not going to place it on the front part. I'm just going to show you how it look like first. But to turn it, we are going to turn this sequence. So I'm going to turn this sequence. I'll place this shining part on the wrong part of the mikado. Look look at what I'm doing. I'm going to place it at the wrong part of the Mikado, the shining part. I'm going to place it on the wrong part of the Mikado. Then I'll just pin it and take it to the machine to sew, because this side is what we are going to turn out. We are going to turn it out. Then I'm just trying to adjust it very well to check if it's really the back part. This Mikado used to have two facing, so I'm just going to adjust it very well. I'm using the shining parts on the wrong part of the Mikado, that's the back part. So I'm just going to take it and I'll take it to my machine and just sew only the V part. So after sewing it, this is what it looks like. Then I'm just going to notch the V part. I'm going to notch it. This is what it looks like. So the next step is just to flip it to the right part. You're just going to arrange it to flip it at the wrong parts of your fabric. So after flipping it and adjusting it very well, I'm just going to cut out the excess at the shoulder. So the next step, at the shoulder side, the left hand side or the right hand side, depending on how you want your design to come out, then I'm going to mark 3 inches. That's for the smaller part of the design. I'm going to mark 3 inches. Then I'll come down to where my V stop. I'm just going to come down to where the V stop. So when I come down to where the V stop, I'm just going to mark cross. Just look at what I'm doing. You understand what I'm trying to say. I'm just going to cross it out again. So after crossing it out, I'm going to come to the middle of the neck. Then I'm going to mark a straight line just to give me guide that this is what I'm cutting. So this is what I'm cutting, or that's how the design will come outside. This is not just a four corner design or a straight design. So I'm just going to mark a straight line at the neck side. So I'm just going to mark a straight line. So after marking a straight line, I'll come down about 5 inches. To give it a square at the side. So after coming down by 5 inches, you can come down by 6 depending on how your material is. So I'm going to come down by 5 inches. Then I'll mark a slant line to meet the middle where I first of all mark out the straight line. So I came down by 5 inches. Then from that 5 inches, I mark a straight line to meet the middle where I mark chalk. So I'm just trying to cut out the other parts of this design. So I'm going to come down by some inches. Then I'll mark a slant V again, a slant line to meet it. So that's all. I'm just going to cut it out. So after cutting the design out, the next step is to fold in your design. That's the sequence part. Then you take it to the machine and sew. So when you are taking it to the machine to sew, you are going to top stitch the next side too, so it will lay flat. So after sewing it, this is what I have. This is how my design look like. You can see it's already coming out good. So the next step is to take the back part too and fold the neck. So I'm going to take the back part and fold it. I'm not going to use bias. You don't need bias for it. Just going to take the neck and fold it inward. After folding it inward, you join the two shoulders together. Then I'll come and show you what it looks like. So after joining your shoulder together, this is what it looks like. I went ahead to fold in the back neck too. After top stitching the front part, this is what it looks like. So the next step is to cut out a stripe about 1.5 inches for the hand design. That means you are going to cut out a sequence design for the hand. I did mine off the camera, so I'm just going to place it on my hand and cut it and take it to the machine to sew. After sewing it, I'll join the side together. Then I'll finish up everything, then I'll come and show you how it looks like. I'm going to join the two sides together. I'll fold the down part of the dress, then I'll take it to the machine to sew. That's all for it. Then I'll come and show you what it looks like. After sewing everything, joining my hands together, putting the front design for the hand, this is what my Bubu gown came out like. You can see the hand design looking so fine and nice. I went ahead to iron it, and that's all for this tutorial. Thank you for watching this far. Please don't forget to like, comment and share my video. Thank you. See you in my next class. Bye.